righty. So we're going to talk about trucks today. Trucks, very exciting. I'm sure all of you have been dying for this moment. Well, now is the time. We're going to talk about trucks here. Trucks, obviously, I just typed in on YouTube or on Google here, all the different types of trucks that are out there. They come in all sorts of shapes, sizes. They have all sorts of different roles. But today we're going to talk a little bit about some specifically, and one specifically that are known as truckload carriers, or trucking companies that move things that are truckload sized. The thing that you're trying to ship is actually going to take up an entire full trailer. Okay. And when we talk about trailers, we oftentimes talk about things that are 48 feet in length, or now even more commonly 53 feet in length. Okay. And essentially what happens with a truckload carrier is that a truckload carrier will send a driver to your place of business. Your people that work for you will put stuff onto a full truckload, and you will close it up, maybe put some sort of a padlock on it, maybe put some sort of a seal on it to show that the doors have not been broken open. But basically, it is going door to door with one particular truck driver. Okay, so if I was a truck driver and I was going to ship something from Hebron, Kentucky, I would go to maybe a distribution center in Hebron, Kentucky. I would back my truck up against the distribution center. They would load whatever they had to load on it, and they would give me some paperwork to sign. They would close it up, put a lock on it, put a seal on it, and send me on my way. I would then go the entire destination with that truck attached to my rig, and then all of a sudden I would show up at the end location. Okay. And I mean, really, it's just that simple. Truckload carriers taking full trailers full of product or items, moving them across states, across countries, whatever the case may be. But if it's a full truckload size carrier, you're going to need a full truckload carrier in order to be able to do that. Okay. So when we think of trucks, there's all sorts of different types of trucks here. I mean, I can scroll through all this stuff here. There's trucks galore. Okay. But specifically, we're going to be talking about what's known as, first of all, a dry van. Okay. Now, a dry van is something that looks like so. Okay. What you would typically think of as a truck, a big full truckload size carrier, and you think of what's known as a dry van. And literally, that's exactly what it is. It is a van. It may be metal on the outside, but more than likely on the inside, it's got plywood. There's a lot of wood inside. Sometimes you'll get metal ones or fiberglass ones, but wood, it's very common to be on the insides of these dry types of vans. Okay. If you look at this, I mean, it's 53 feet, not from the front of the truck that is pulling the trailer, but the length of the trailer. 53 feet long is a pretty common size anymore for trailers when they are being sent out. And you, as somebody that might be responsible for unloading or loading a trailer, if you're paying for it, you want to be making sure that you get every last bit of what you're paying for. So you want as long of a truck that will be allowed onto a road, and that is a 53-foot trailer. You can't go any longer than that without having to do all sorts of other stuff. Now, you guys might have seen stuff on there that has like oversized load written on it. Yeah, you can have larger stuff, but oftentimes that requires having a company escort the truck with like flashing lights. Sometimes if it's really big, you may have to employ a state trooper to be able to escort you. But really, it is 53 feet. That's pretty much the sweet spot for what you're trying to be getting. Okay, so we've got a nice red truck here. I mean, oftentimes these truckload drivers are oftentimes living literally in their trucks. Okay, there's all sorts of designations that cover how long a truck driver can actually drive for. But generally speaking, a driver can no longer drive any more than 10 consecutive hours. Okay, now that might be rather tough for some of us to think about, driving 10 straight hours, but that's what a lot of truck drivers do. I know that I feel pretty good about myself when I can drive 8, 9, 10 hours. When I still used to live back in Nebraska, I was pretty happy with myself. When one time I was able to drive 14 straight hours in my car to get to Nebraska, and I never stopped. That's almost a fact of life, day in and day out, for these truck drivers. It is not an easy life. The sleeping that they get is oftentimes not in a hotel or a motel. It's literally in the back of the truck that they are driving. Okay, so sometimes when you're interacting with truck drivers, wherever you may be working in the future, they kind of look maybe a little dirty, a little grimy, a little grungy. I will say that some of them do not have the luxury of being able to be somewhere that they can always shower and always be there, or always be looking plenty pretty. So anyway, yeah. So cut the truck driver a little slack. He might be on the fourth straight day of driving a whole lot of hours. So be nice to the truck driver. Okay, got another picture here. We've got two more dry vans. Okay, they come in all shapes and colors. These rigs, but I mean, this one up here, it's got like a little see-through window that it's got like a multi-level type of truck. So this guy, he's probably pretty happy. He's got a little back area to sleep in, but then he's got like an upper bunk area. Pretty exciting. Okay. Anyway, let's talk about another one. Okay. Another type of truck that you might encounter would be a refrigerated truck. Refrigerated trucks are good for moving things that either require refrigeration, or if they require something that is, or if they need to actually haul something that is frozen. I mean, you can turn this machine right here to all sorts of temperatures that will cool this entire trailer. Now, these types of trailers generally, well, I will say not generally, they never have anything inside of them other than metal. Okay, these interiors of these types of trucks are metal, and metal keeps things nice and cool when it has all sorts of refrigeration shooting at it. Okay, so these trucks are kept very cool by this refrigeration unit. Sometimes these trucks, because they are insulated inside of them, are somewhat carrying less freight than what one of these dry vans. But again, this is a 53-foot trailer. Again, 53 foot from this corner all the way down to this corner. This refrigeration unit that is stuck at the end of it is just a little added on space. It doesn't take on too much, and it can still be hooked up to by a regular truck without going over the 53-foot limit. Okay, seeing one of these things attached to a rig. We got a nice, pretty yellow truck here. Yeah, I mean, a refrigerated unit is something that is essential for moving food and frozen products throughout the country. Got to have it. Okay, without it, we're eating what we have here in northern Kentucky and nothing else. Okay. Another type of truck that we could talk about would be liquid or bulk types of trucks. Okay, liquid type trailers, again, they're hitting that 53-foot sweet spot. However, it oftentimes is not exactly 53 foot long, the actual container that is holding the liquids, but you've got a 53-foot actual undercarriage of the trailer. The 53 foot starts right here and it ends right here. Okay. Again, all sorts of things from chemicals to milk to all sorts of things that are liquid. Obviously, there are food grade containers that are specifically for foods. And then there are ones that are oftentimes hauling around chemicals. I mean, Should come as no surprise to you that there's a great number of chemicals around us in our daily lives, and those chemicals get transported throughout the United States using liquid bulk or liquid types of trailers like this. I mean, you see a lot of these things when you are maybe at a gas station. You see one of these things, and they all of a sudden pull off a hose on this thing, and they start putting gasoline into the underground holders for gasoline. Okay, so liquid. Okay, food grade, non-food grade. It's possible to wash these things out, but you have to get them inspected. So pretty much it's always going to be food grade types of liquids or non-food grade. And yeah, that's pretty much that. Then this is kind of an interesting thing to take a look at because I know you've seen these types of things. This looks very similar to this. This is what's known as a bulk trailer. These are oftentimes carrying powdered items inside of them, whether it be things like flour, whether it be things like sand, whether it be all sorts of dry powdered types of substances. Again, 53 foot from the tail of the carriage to the front of it. And yeah, basically it's oftentimes dumping from below, but it's actually a lot of times, in addition to dumping it down below, you are able to shoot it out in a hose using a number of machine assist. So, I mean, it can blow out. Yeah, I mean, my first dealings with one of these things, I worked at a bakery, and these types of trucks would show up, and they would fill up these large silos of flour right next door to the bakery. These silos could hold maybe about 4 of these very large trucks, and it was my job to go out and talk to the truck driver, get him hooked up, and then make him leave. Okay, then what else do we have here? We have what's known as a flatbed trailer. Okay, flatbed trailers are also quite useful. Flatbed trailers are essential in oftentimes moving large, bulky things. I mean, you cannot actually load oftentimes something big like this into the tail of a trailer the way a dry van does. Oftentimes, flatbed trailers are loaded from the sides of trailers. Okay, and basically large heavy duty forklifts are picking up these very big items that you see sitting on this flatbed right here, and then they are going to get another one. They put it on there, they secure them. Oftentimes these things are exposed to the elements. It's sometimes not unusual to see truck drivers or trucks going down the roads that are flatbed to have these types of things that they are carrying covered up with some sort of a tarp. It is a big hassle for truck drivers to do that sort of stuff. But if you are a flatbed driver, that's just part of the deal. Okay, I don't know if I've got another exciting flatbed truck. I mean, flatbed truck, it might be something like this. But the thing about flatbed trucks is it is oftentimes loaded from the ground with a forklift, and it is loaded directly onto the trailer. This is an oversized load, as I mentioned. As you can see, it's got stuff hanging out here. And unfortunately for lots of truck drivers, they don't get to just drive around with loads like this. This is when you got to have like escorts coming along with flashing lights and all sorts of good stuff. Okay. So that right there, that is our introduction to trucks. These are all full truckload types of loads that we've kind of looked at here. And oftentimes, as I said, the deal with these types of things are that they are going from door to door, loaded on one end, and they are taken directly to another door and then offloaded at that place of business. So